Cusco was the capital city of the Inca Empire. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the most unique and special places on Earth. In this video, I will show you the places you must see and things you must do if you only have a few days in this marvelous place before your visit to Machu Picchu. I will also throw in some tips where to stay, where to eat, and how to go about exploring the sacred valley of the Incas. First, let me touch briefly on where to stay. Cusco is a major tourist hub that offers accommodations to fit any budget, ranging from cheap hostels to luxurious hotels. However, I strongly recommend that you stay in the historic city center in the best hotel that you can afford. Let it be part of the Cusco experience to stay in a colonial Spanish mansion surrounded by the amazing history and beautiful architecture. For many, this is a trip of a lifetime, and you will later regret that you did not stay in the historic center where the all action is. I myself stayed at the Costa del Sol, only a few steps from the Plaza de Armas. The first place you must visit is the main square, also known as the Plaza de Armas. This square has been the center of life in Cusco for centuries. Back in the days of the Inca Empire, this was a sacred ceremonial space surrounded by palaces and filled with history long before the Spanish ever arrived. Keep in mind that Cusco lies at high elevation of 3,500 meters or 11,000 feet, which will require some acclimation. So your first day will be perfect to walk around and exploring the historic center. It is all walkable. The area surrounding the main square is all historic buildings that were actually built on top of the original Inca structures. When the Spanish arrived, they demolished the palaces and temples of the Incas, and they built their own unique buildings in colonial style, keeping the original city grid, the Inca city grid, and utilizing the Inca materials, the Inca walls. Now we are looking at a statue of Pachacuti, who was the greatest Inca emperor. Here is a church of Jesus, and here is the great cathedral of Cusco. Next, you must explore the streets of Cusco. The city square is surrounded by these historic streets. Like I mentioned before, the Spanish demolished most of the Inca structures, but they kept the city grid and they kept much of these walls. The walls you see here, they are actually the original Inca walls. The Spanish just rebuilt their houses, their palaces and churches and other structures on top of these Inca foundations. See the perfect Inca stonework? It is one of history's mysteries. How were they able to cut these stones so perfectly? The Inca, they didn't know wheel, they didn't know steel, and they didn't know iron. And yet, they were able to cut and fit these stones so perfectly, so they didn't have to use mortar, and their walls were able to withstand earthquakes and other seismic activities. This city is surrounded by mountains on all sides, and much of the city is built uphill. So while you're exploring the city, you will climb up these hills and get some exercise, but it's definitely worth it. Now we are looking at the Archbishop Palace, which is another place you must visit. You can actually go inside for modest fee. You can go inside. Unfortunately, it is not allowed to film inside, so I have just some footage from the courtyard, but I was unable to here is the courtyard, but I was unable to make footage from the interiors, which are quite beautiful, and this is on the way to the famous 12-angled stone. And just short walk from the Archbishop's Palace is the famous 12-angled stone, which is another thing you must visit. Every tourist must visit the 12-angled stone. Look at it, this is it. Look how perfectly cut these huge stones are. This is an example of typical Inca wall. and they are everywhere. These remaining Inca walls are everywhere in the Cusco city center. As you walking these streets, you will be very impressed and amazed by this amazing architecture. And what is interesting, the Incas, they perfected the stone building. They didn't use mortar, but they angled their walls slightly inward to withstand earthquakes. And as we continue climbing up the streets, we are making our way to the Sacsayhuaman, the mighty fortress that lies just above the city, overlooking the city. And here we are. Just above Cusco sits one of the most impressive engineering feats of the ancient world, the Sacsayhuaman. At first glance, it looks like a fortress, but it was much more than that. It was a ceremonial complex built by the Incas, and it played a key role in both defense and spiritual life. What really makes this place unbelievable are the stones. Some of these blocks weigh over 100 tons, and yet they fit together so perfectly you can't even slide a piece of paper between them. No mortar, no modern tools, just precision that still puzzles engineers today. And from the Sacsayhuaman, you have a great view of the city of Cusco. And to get back into the city, it's just a 15 or 20 minutes walk down a hill. Another place you must visit is the San Pedro Market. Just about 10 minutes from the historic center, from the Plaza de Armas, easy walk, lies the Pedro Market. This is where the locals shop. Now let's walk towards it. We're gonna pass this gate, you see, and here is the San Pedro Market. You can find everything here, from fruits, chocolates, meats, food products, souvenirs, alpaca wool, just about anything you can imagine you're gonna find here. If you want to try authentic food, authentic Peruvian food, they have section where they have cooked meals, they have butcher shops, they have bakeries, they sell all sorts of souvenirs, they have a whole section dedicated to juices, very delicious, and this is where the locals shop, so you can go wrong. I was coming here about every other day just to taste the real Peru. Juices. Another place you must absolutely visit is Qorikancha, the Temple of the Sun. It was the most important temple of the Inca Empire. When the Spanish arrived, they partially demolished it and built church and convent of Santo Domingo on top of the Qorikancha temple to show the dominance of the Christian religion. This is what remains of the original Inca temple. There are several structures like that that formed the Qorikancha complex. The Spanish cleverly preserved it to show their dominance, and they built this monumental convent on top. Here is top of the bell tower of the Santo Domingo. You have nice view of the convent of the Santo Domingo and the city of Cusco. If you want to learn more about Qorikancha, check out my channel. I have a video dedicated specifically to Qorikancha, the Temple of the Sun. These are the historic roofs of Cusco. And here is the amazing rooftop of the Church of Santo Domingo. Let me touch briefly on where to eat. The food in Peru is amazing, and the historic center is full of great restaurants. Just use Yelp or TripAdvisor and find a place that has at least 4 stars. There are plenty of them. If you feel fancy and want a really good view with beautiful environment and views, go to the main square. These restaurants on main square are Michelin star quality, and the views are just amazing. If you feel like a real Peruvian chicken, Los Toldos is the place to go. However, there are many great pollerias all over the place, and you can go wrong with any one of those. If you have more time, I definitely recommend to visit the many churches and museums in Cusco. They have unique and beautiful churches built in this Andean Baroque architecture that is very unique, and it differs from the Baroque churches you will find in Europe. They were using the Inca materials. They demolished the Inca buildings and used the Inca stones, Inca cut stones, to build their churches. I definitely recommend to visit the cathedral, which is on the main square. You're gonna pay an entrance fee, and I also recommend to hire a tour guide. You have tour guides in front of every notable structure, every notable building, and for modest fee, you can hire them and they will tell you about the history of the place. Also, there are travel agencies all over the downtown area. I recommend that you pop in and ask what trips they offer, what sites they offer. I visited the Sacred Valley, places like Chinchero, Ollantaytambo, Pisac, Urubamba. If you want to visit Machu Picchu, you need to make reservations in advance. And this concludes my video. If you like my content, hit like and subscribe. Check out my channel. I have many videos like this.